Hey there, how are you all doing? We're glad to have viewers from all around the world. If you're new here, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This news comes from Israel's Channel 2, which quoted officials saying they had no idea Trump was going to make an announcement about Yemen. Israel was completely caught off guard when Trump suddenly declared he would stop the attacks on Yemen. Now there are big questions. Does this also mean the Houthis will stop launching missiles at Israel? Even Channel 2's political correspondent asked that. Israel wasn't given any heads up, and this isn't the first time the U.S. has kept things from them. Even Prime Minister Netanyahu was in the dark. Apparently, Trump doesn't trust Israel with sensitive info like this, which explains why his announcement came as such a shock. But overall, since it's the U.S. that got involved in this mess, they're the ones who need to back off and stop protecting Israel. As for the support and solidarity with Gaza, it's ongoing. It's not just about trade anymore. There are going to be major announcements in the next few days. Big news, positive news, and no, it's not just about business. Meanwhile, Tel Aviv responded to Yemen with over 70 strategic bombs, and the Houthis say they're preparing a new military surprise. Ben Gurion Airport is out of service. Airlines have suspended flights due to Houthi threats, and Tel Aviv has declared a state of high alert in case of more attacks from Yemen. The UAE-backed Yemeni Southern Transitional Council condemned the Houthi attack on the airport. Russia sent a plane to evacuate its citizens from Yemen.
We won't end the war in Gaza until our conditions are met.
A last-minute Israeli-Palestinian agreement was brokered by Egypt and Iran. Netanyahu is apparently trying to pressure Trump over his stance on Iran. The European Union declared it will double its support for Kyiv, while Trump is supposedly reaching out to the descendant of Erdogan, likely a reference to Turkey, to help end the war in Ukraine.
Back to the Middle East, things are escalating fast.
After the Houthis fired a hypersonic ballistic missile at Ben Gurion Airport, according to Reuters, Israeli warplanes launched a massive airstrike using over 30 aircraft, mainly hitting Hodeidah in western Yemen. U.S. planes were reportedly involved too, showing a high level of coordination between Washington and Tel Aviv. The Israeli strikes included 12 air raids on Hodeidah and 8 more on Bajil, one of which directly hit a cement factory causing casualties. The U.S. carried out 3 raids on the southern outskirts of Sana'a and 9 on Al Jaf province. According to Israeli state media, Tel Aviv is currently bombing Yemen. Channel 14 confirmed that the Israeli Air Force is behind the attacks, a rare official admission. This was in response to the missile attack on Ben Gurion, which exposed weaknesses in Israeli and American air defenses and sparked political and military chaos in Israel. Still, some Israeli officials doubt these strikes will stop the Houthis. Many of the targeted sites had already been bombed in the past. The Khan newspaper called the attacks a morale booster for the Israeli public, but also pointed out the failure of the air defense systems. Channel 2 later reported the air raids had ended after Israel dropped more than 50 bombs, destroying the Hodeidah port completely. Israel remains on high alert for potential retaliation from the Houthis.
Yemen's missile capabilities are well protected, and Sana'a is serious about enforcing an air blockade on Tel Aviv. The recent missile strike was just a warning shot.
Channel 3 reported that Israel is bracing for more Houthi missile attacks and that bombing Hodeidah likely won't stop them. Despite the tensions, FlyDubai is still operating flights to Tel Aviv. Meanwhile, Maariv, an Israeli newspaper, said the attack on Ben Gurion is seen by Israel's defense establishment as a direct assault on their national sovereignty with global implications. Netanyahu accused the Houthis of launching a fierce attack and said Israel will respond firmly to ensure its security. He also warned Iran to stop supporting the Houthis. Israel's foreign ministry called the attack an Iranian assault via the Houthis. Proxy conflict calls to hold Iran accountable, Yemen threatens more escalation and regional tensions surge. Israel has called on the international community to hold Iran accountable, saying Tel Aviv has the full right to defend itself. Meanwhile, Israeli media, including the Jerusalem Post, reported that the UAE-backed Southern Transitional Council in Yemen called the Houthi missile strike on Ben Gurion Airport a terrorist act, echoing Israel's position. This comes after the council's leader, Idris al-Zubaydi, previously expressed willingness to normalize relations and cooperate with Israel, according to the paper. Israeli public broadcaster Khan added that upcoming airstrikes on Houthi targets in Yemen would be coordinated carefully not to interfere with ongoing U.S. operations. The Israeli Air Force has reportedly increased its readiness, conducting drills for large-scale strikes.
On the other side, Mehdi al-Mashat, the Houthi-aligned head of Yemen's Supreme Political Council in Sana'a, said Yemen is ready to escalate if the war on Gaza continues, warning that attacks on Israel will not stop until the blockade is lifted and the war ends. During a meeting with military leaders, al-Mashat said their recent hypersonic missile attack on Ben Gurion Airport was a success and claimed Sana'a has even more advanced capabilities than Israel expects. He also said Yemeni forces shot down an American F-18 fighter jet and targeted the USS Truman aircraft carrier, claiming that U.S. military intelligence is exposed and vulnerable. Al-Mashat said Yemen has an emergency plan in place, stating, "This war is just beginning, and we have plenty of tools left to escalate." These remarks were reported by Sky News Arabia.
In related news, the Russian embassy in Yemen confirmed it successfully evacuated 3 injured Russian sailors to Moscow for treatment after U.S. airstrikes on the Ras Isa oil port in Hodeidah. One sailor suffered a serious eye injury and may need surgery, while the others were only lightly wounded. Acting Ambassador Yevgeny Kudrov said 19 more Russian crew members are still aboard the Seven Pearls tanker anchored offshore, but are in a relatively safe location. Meanwhile, Israeli sources reported a continued wave of cancelled international flights to Tel Aviv following the Houthi missile strike on Ben Gurion. Analysts believe a new, unnamed Yemeni missile was used, hinting at the introduction of more advanced weapons into the conflict. As a result, Spanish airline Iberia cancelled all scheduled flights to Tel Aviv for the next day after Yemen's armed forces announced they were imposing an air blockade on Israel. Switching over to the Palestinian front, Israeli media cited an anonymous official who said the war in Gaza could end and remaining hostages could be released, but only if the Palestinian movement agrees to Israel's conditions.
The Palestinian side responded by saying Israel's claims of offering aid to Gaza were just a PR stunt meant to ease international pressure.
In a press statement, Netanyahu warned that the next operation in Gaza will be large and intense, with the aim of fully crushing the Palestinian resistance. He made it clear the Israeli army won't withdraw from any territory it enters during the assault. He also said the decision to launch the attack was made following a recommendation from Chief of Staff Herzi Halevi, and that this operation will also aim to secure the release of all remaining Israeli hostages, with no compromises. Later, Israeli media revealed there might be a last-minute deal brokered by Egypt between Israel and the Palestinian movement. The proposed agreement includes a temporary ceasefire in exchange for the release of some living hostages and bodies, and may be extended to negotiate an end to the war, but only if Gaza agrees to disarm, Israel's main condition. Meanwhile, on the Iran front, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi accused Netanyahu of trying to force his agenda on President Trump, especially regarding Iran diplomacy.
He warned that such interference could push the region toward another disaster. Araghchi also said U.S. support for Israel, including military aid and attacks on Yemen, hasn't benefited the American people. He insisted that the only path to a nuclear agreement is through mutual respect and fair diplomacy.
Now let's shift to the Russia-Ukraine war. European leaders are bracing for a worst-case scenario if Trump fails to reach a peace deal with Putin. Andrius Kubilius, the EU's Commissioner for Defense and Space, said Europe is ready to double its military support for Ukraine if talks fall through. He added that EU nations might allocate 40 billion euros to purchase weapons built in Ukraine, as part of a strategy to boost defense independence and support Kiev on the battlefield. Meanwhile, President Trump posted on Truth Social that he had a very productive phone call with Turkish President Erdogan and said he hopes to work with him to help end the war in Ukraine. They reportedly discussed the Ukraine conflict, Syria, and Gaza during the call. Thanks so much for watching. Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Here at S News, we're committed to bringing you balanced and traditional reporting. See you in the next video.